Hi guys, it's Mark Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Mark Zicree of Space Command, and many other things. I'm wearing my cool Alien shirt today, and I hope you've been watching the Alien, trailers that have been coming out recently. They're pretty cool, and we'll see if the movie is. And things are moving ahead great on Space Command and the Showrunners Network and Elaine's film Voiceless Roar. Tons of things to share with you in the near future. But today, I'm going to share with you a super, super, super rarity. Now, one of the very fun things about my career over all these decades is that 95% of the scripts I've written have gotten made. And that's because I worked in television, particularly series television, Sliders, DS9, Babylon 5, on and on and on, where because of the economics, if you write a script for a show, they're going to use it because they're doing 22 episodes a year or whatever back then. And particularly if you're on staff as a producer or as a story editor, what you write gets made, and that's very gratifying, and you learn a lot in terms of how to make a show, which has really helped me nowadays. But every now and then you do something that you're really excited about, but for whatever reason it doesn't get picked up, or etc. The networks and the studios, the powers that be, don't see the clear wisdom of doing a project. And in this case, it has a very interesting history, and I'm going to show you the entire... Sometimes in television, we don't make a full pilot, but we make what's called a pilot presentation, which is several sample scenes that introduce the show, introduce the characters, and give a taste of the show, where you don't have to spend as much money as you would shooting an hour pilot, but you can shoot something that's maybe 15 or 20 minutes long, and that gives the sense of what the show is. And this was a terrific learning ground for Elaine and myself, because this was the first pilot presentation we had ever executive produced, and as well as written. And one of the cool things about Hollywood is that you often meet the actors, the writers, the directors, the producers, whose work you admire. It just comes with the territory. You go to Writers Guild events or a convention, whatever. And of course, I met Armin Shimmerman on the set of Deep Space Nine, and he and I became good friends. And though oddly, I'd written for Beauty and the Beast, and he played a character named Pascal on that show, but I wasn't aware of that at the time. We didn't meet on that show, but we met a few years later on DS9. But another very talented man whose work I hugely admired was a man named Tom Fontana. Now, Tom had started on St. Elsewhere and then rose to be a showrunner on Homicide, and created and showran Oz, which was a very, very powerful prison drama. If you've seen the recent Monsieur Spade, which is Sam Spade set in Paris, starring Clive Owen, Tom's the executive producer on that and creator on that as well. Very, 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 just television royalty. And one of the fun things, of course, is that all of these showrunners read The Twilight Zone Companion when it came out years ago. And so I met Tom, we struck up a friendly acquaintanceship, and at the same time, Elaine had this wonderful idea for a show about a crusading journalist who was extremely difficult. He was someone that you love to have on your side as a crusader, but he was awful to be in a relationship with. And our template for that were two people. It was basically Truman Capote when he was writing in Cold Blood, and Harlan Ellison, the great science fiction writer who was extremely temperamental. I used to joke about Harlan that he burnt his bridges while he was on them. And and so we wanted to develop a show around Armin Shimmerman as this very troubled soul. This is back when DS9 and Buffy were on the air, Homicide and Oz were on the air, and but we were looking ahead to the future and this is just before sort of the troubled anti-hero came to the fore in television. So this is before Breaking Bad, and so this is what made it a very hard sale. But when I finished as a producer on Sliders, I immediately took up this project. Elaine and I wrote a pilot script. And Tom agreed to be our partner on this project, and that was just wonderful. And Elaine and I wrote it and produced it, and we hired a young director named Roby Michael, a very talented young man, and we shot it over a series of several days and nights. And I haven't watched it in many years, but because we're putting together the video about Elaine that we're going to use in the Kickstarter campaign for her movie Voiceless Roar, I had this transferred from VHS tape, somewhere I've got a master tape of it, to digital. And so now the cool parts, amongst the cool parts about this, first of all, very few people have seen it, so you're getting a real treat to see this wonderful pilot presentation. And the little girl in it, there are two little girls in it, one of them a teenager, and she's grown up to be an actress that you've seen on many, many series, Amanda Fuller, and now she's a director as well. So you'll get to see her in one of her younger roles. And we filmed this. It was shot on film, not on tape, so it was very expensive. But sadly, it didn't sell, despite our best efforts. Sometimes that's the breaks, and we may revisit this later down the road. You know, what's old is new again, often in television and film. But we want to share it with you. And so now, here, in its entirety, is the pilot presentation of Real Story, written by Elaine and Mark Scott Zicree, and executive produced by us and Tom Fontana, and directed by Roby Michael, and starring the wonderful Armin Shimmerman.
Hello, I'm Terrence Thornfield. In a world where every poseur and half-baked illiterate and corporate newspaper hack styles himself God's gift to literature, I offer up the real thing, a writer par excellence, whose talent, wit, and style are only exceeded by his modesty. I'd like to introduce you to a new one-hour drama about a fascinating subject, namely myself. I work on open assignment for a heavy hitter magazine like the New Yorker or Harper's, specializing in the kind of journalism many of my Fourth Estate colleagues abhor. Namely, that I limit myself to what is true and to what has some conceivable relevance. Excuse me. Whoever the hell you are, you missed by a mile, you craven myopic cipher! Anyway, we wanted to give you a bit of an appetizer. A whiff of the Quark, if you will. Recently, I was intrigued by a headline in a regional newspaper. A small-town couple brutally murdered. Their teenage son missing and presumed guilty. So I blew into town determined to clear the boy. Only I found out he had committed the murders and was intent on killing more, starting with the two little girls who were hiding him. I tracked the girls to a remote cabin, praying I'd be in time.
He knew you'd come. Chip read this whole big thing. He said, just scream. Some little men, they got this thing about needing to play act hero.
Oh, really? How deplorably clever. Those two petite-sized graves are there for atmosphere.
He's making it up.
I'm not going anywhere. Go see.
Mallory.
No, if they're there, he dug them himself. Why do you want to hurt him?
Why do I?
He told us. Innocent doesn't sell books. Too bad for you. He's gonna get us a car, take us so far away from this dumpster town, we're never gonna hear of it again. And we're gonna be happy.
I see. You're going to be happy. And what am I going to be?
Chick won't hurt you. All he wants for us is a fair start.
And since you and your sister helped put me here, that must be something you're very, very sure of. Of course, you don't need to be quite as sure as I do, yes? You're not in a cage.
Come on, Carl, let's wait the hell outside.
You're right! You are, aren't you? Caged. Only yours is worse. This is solid. I can beat on it. I can even make my fists bleed. But yours... Yours I know. You push, the walls give and come back. Give and come back. And not even a damn drop of blood to show for it. The cage isn't a place to live in. Our only area of conflict is, I think there's more than one way out. Sweetheart, I have a question for you. Do you and Chick ever fight? Or even disagree about anything? Hardly human, is it? We're complicated, contradictory, damn scrappy animals, but Chick, he's different, isn't he? Like a mirror, reflecting back everything you ever wanted to see, reflecting back.
No! Mallory! You're too young, you don't understand. Chick is different. He doesn't care about smart or pretty. He thinks I'm special. All the way from Florence, Italy.
Paint. Needs kind of a touch.
Damn you to hell! He's gonna get us out of here! He's gonna get us something better.
Sweetheart.
You don't know anything. You don't know shit. You got your money to buy things. You got your friends. You got your grand, perfect life in New York City. You don't know shit.
I do know about here. I come from a place just like this. A place exactly like this. I'm told when I rant, you can still hear it. The lilt of low white trash. I wish that I could regale you with lurid stories of my early youth. But unfortunately, something happened when I was just about your age. An accident which flambéed my memory. What I do recall, or think I recall, maybe I was told, was that the accident was something in which my baby sister died. How, I don't remember. And the relative relatives to whom I was handed off were disinclined to enlighten me. But I stray from my point. What I do remember very clearly was being a coward. And when my neighborhood chums got wind of my tragic loss and came after me, I held my breath and waited for someone to say, "Stop. It's not fair to be my champion." But I was alone until I realized I had me. They beat the crap out of me, of course. But I didn't care. I was free.
Please.
Mallory, Chick doesn't have any magical power. Nothing that you don't have within yourself. You don't need him. You don't need that sanctimonious cretin of a father of yours. You don't need anybody. And if nobody in this pathetic world has the courage to stand up for you, you do!
Wait outside, okay? I needed you to see me, so you'd understand. No, you'll live. You make me famous.
They can't hurt you! Why hurt them?